welcome back to another episode of Inspiration Talks. I'm very excited about today's episode. I have a very special guest all the way from Canada. Parm Saggu is with us. She's a life coach and an ex-engineer. Apart from that, she is a yoga instructor and owns her own company, which is about yoga. So let's find out more about her. Before any delay, let's welcome Parm Saggu. Hi, Parm. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good. I'm so great. Thank you for having me here.
You are most welcome. First of all, thank you so much for being part of Inspiration Talks, Param. I really appreciate. So, before I start our today's conversation, I would like to know about your early life. Where were you born? What did you study? How was your early life?
Yeah, so I was born in Canada. My parents are from India. And so my early life was really traditional, I would say. It was like, I was born in Toronto in a big house with my entire family. Like, think cousins, aunts, uncles. Like, there must have been like 30 people in this house. It was really fun. I was super, super young. And then, we moved out when I was 6. We got our own house, and then things were kind of like streamlined. It was just my direct family lived with my brothers, my parents. Yeah, that's kind of my life, how I started.
Okay, so then what did you study? What was your first job? And what did you learn from your first job?
Okay, yeah. So fast forward like 20 years. I studied nanotechnology engineering at a university here in Canada.
Mhm.
And actually, my first job before that, my very, very first job, unrelated, I worked at, oh God, I don't even know. I think it was a shoe store. But essentially, what I learned is this value of hard work, right? If you want something,
Yeah.
you have to go and work for it. And it's not always the direct thing, right? Like it's not always like I want that, I'm gonna get it. Like on the way, there are things that you have to do to get there, right? It's not always like a direct path.
Yeah, that's right. So, did you want to be an engineer when you were a kid?
No, I started off wanting to be a teacher, and then I think I wanted to be an astronaut at some point. It really changed so much, and how I got to wanting to be an engineer is that we did a project at some point in high school, and I really liked creating things, and I really liked the research and all the aspects of putting things together and putting them out into the world and then testing them. And so that's how I got into this field of engineer. And plus, by that point you have all these pressures of what you're supposed to do, right? So you keep, at least for me, I kept hearing things like, well, what's practical, being a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. And I was like, okay, sure, let me fit into this, let me do this. And so that's kind of how I got to engineering. And within that, there's different types of engineering, and that was kind of the freedom that I had. Okay, what type of engineer do I want to be?
Yeah, big question because there are a lot of fields. So, how did you decide nano engineering?
It sounded like the most interesting one, to be honest. Everything else was kind of like really boring. Like it was like electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical, and I'm like, yeah, no, no, no. This one was very, very new, so I thought, let me do this, and I got to research like very fundamental things. I got to go deep into the science, and that's really what I like. I like to understand things from the very core and the fundamental.
Okay, that's great to know. So, then how did you end up being as a life coach? Like you were an engineer, then how did you went to this path of yoga and life coaching?
Yeah, this is where the story really starts. So I
Uh-huh.
lived this I lived this normal life up until that point, up until I graduated. And at that point I was so tired, I was so burnt out. I was thinking like, why am I even doing this? Like, I've been working, I've been doing things that the world wants me to do ever since I was born, essentially, right? Go to school, get an education, now get higher education, now get a job, and then eventually it's get married, have kids, and then like the end, right? Like that's the end story. And I'm like, well, when is there going to be time for me? And so what I did is I took a year off. I went to South America, I traveled, and I tried to kind of figure out what I wanted for myself. And I didn't find my answers, but I came back and I tried to work in this field. I tried to be happy, right? Because a lot of people, they go At least that's what we hear in the movies and stuff. You go, you travel, you come back, and you live happily ever after because you've had your experience. But for me,
Yeah.
it wasn't like that. When I came back, I found a job eventually in my field, and I was so burnt out at that point. Like after 6 months, I was like, I can't do this, right? Like something inside me wanted to make a difference, right? Wanted to do something impactful in the world. And this job was just the opposite. It was just a normal job. And I did it for 6 months because I thought, well, I need to be practical. I need to have money. I need to be able to pay my rent and buy food and do all those things. But my heart wanted something different, right? And when
Yeah.
I, yeah, those 6 months, I quit my job, and that's when I started practicing yoga. Yoga had been with me throughout all these phases of my life, and I thought, I don't know what it is about this practice, but something about yoga makes me feel good. It makes me feel calm, and it makes me feel at ease. It makes me feel like, it's not the end of the world because I quit my job. And so I continued to practice every single day. And I made a commitment to myself, like going to practice every day. And that's kind of what started the ball rolling. I did a breathwork workshop. I lived in an ashram. I met my guru. I did a yoga teacher training. I stayed at the ashram for a year, started a company, and here I am. And yeah, this is what I want to teach. I realized that I've been so blessed to have been picked out of the crowd and given these gifts of inner freedom, right? To learn about my mind and what it is that holds me back. And so I just decided that I felt like it was my responsibility to give this back. So that's kind of how I got from there to here. And yeah.
Okay, that's great to know. So your company, what is your company about?
So my company is called Parm's Yoga, and it's essentially this, right? It's teaching the deeper aspects of yoga, right? Like today in the world, how many people want purpose?
Yeah.
Everyone, right? Everyone
Yeah.
wants to do something meaningful, and they want to be fulfilled. They want to be happy. And that doesn't mean what the world tells us, right? The world tells you, oh, you have a big house and nice cars and lots of money and you'll be happy. That's not the truth, right? You
Yeah.
don't need any of those things to be happy. What you need is this feeling that you're making a difference, right? This feeling that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And so what I do with my company through courses and coaching and, by speaking in places like this is that I help people find that fulfillment. I help them find inner peace and create a life that resonates with them.
Okay, that's great to know. So, as you are a yoga instructor and life coach, I would like to know first of all what yoga really is.
I love this question so much. So on the market today, yoga is perceived as this physical practice, right? It's just like Pilates or Zumba or whatever, but it's really not, right? Yoga is the science of consciousness. Yoga is how to go inwards. It's finding inner peace and being one, right? The word
Yeah.
yoga comes from the Sanskrit word yuj, which means union, right? And this is a union between the body, the breath, and the mind. And what that enables you to do is really experience yourself, right? Be your authentic self, like be that blissful, happy, expansive version of you that you are at your core.
Okay, so Param, can you let me know how can yoga help you break free from limiting beliefs and patterns?
So when you go inward, right, you start to see, if you've observed the mind, you'll start to notice that there are certain patterns that the mind has, right? And these are thought patterns. These are in your consciousness. They're very, very deep inside, right? You think about the subconscious mind and all of those things, the super conscious mind, right? And so in between yourself and like your body, there are many different layers. And some of the deepest layer above the self is your ego, right? It's your sense of self, like who you are, and your self-limiting beliefs live here. But they're just patterns, right? They're just thought patterns. And what yoga helps you do is it helps you break these patterns, not just break them, but erase them. And this is what's so powerful because you come into such a still place that when you go into meditation, you go deep into that space and you're able to break free, right? You're able to different choice thoughts or anything like that come up. You're able to just observe and separate yourself, right?
Yeah.
If you if you've ever noticed things like repeating situations in your life, like maybe you consistently have problems with your mother or your father or your significant other, maybe it's the same argument that you have over and over and over again. Like this is coming from somewhere, right? It's not just because you guys like to fight about the same things, it's coming from somewhere. And so with yoga, you can start to dive in and look at what that is and get rid of it.
Okay, so it seems like yoga is very beneficial for health. So, Param, how does this method differ from other popular methods on the market today, like NLP?
Yeah. So other methods of really working with your consciousness, like there are different things that people do, right? When they're struggling with their minds, things like therapy, hypnotherapy, like and NLP is one of these methods. And there's so many different things that people do,
Yeah.
like regressions and blah blah blah. Like there's just so much. And so a lot of these methods, what they do is they stay very surface level, first of all, right? Like if you think about your consciousness as an ocean, like this is the base, this is who you are, right? That blissful version. This is your body here, and this whole ocean is full of stuff, right? It's full of patterns and beliefs and things that don't serve you. And so when you go to these other methods, they really stay at the surface, right? They start to take things out from the surface, but if you want to get rid of a weed, you can't just clip the leaves. You have to pull it out from the roots, right? And this is what yoga does. So instead of rewriting patterns, you're erasing them, right? You're pulling them out from the roots and getting rid of them entirely. It's so, so powerful, transformative.
Okay, so yoga is more powerful than NLP, hypnotherapy, ELT, and the other therapies which are used for finding the purpose according to you. Or what will you give number one to, yoga or NLP or ELT or hypnotherapy?
So, in my experience, it has been yoga that has changed my life. Now, I'm not going to say that these other methods don't work or they're not good for anything. Like everything has its place, and everything has its place and its time. If you're looking for that ultimate freedom from these things, in my experience, yoga can help you.
So, like, yoga will be number one.
Absolutely.
Okay,
without a question, without a doubt.
Okay, without any doubt, yoga is number one. So if anyone is stressed or if anyone is dubious about anything, they must do yoga, right? Okay, so how does yoga help to create inner peace?
Yeah, okay, this is a great question, and it's a great follow-up for that question. So what you learn, what yoga will tell you, what the philosophy of yoga will tell you is that, your nature is peace. It's funny, I was just creating content on this today. Your nature is peace, right? Who you are and what you are is peace. This is your natural state, right? If you look at babies, they're normally very, very happy. Unless you bother them, then they'll start crying, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and this is how we come into the world. And actually, at our core, that peace exists. Like I said in this analogy, above that piece, you have all these things that happen. And what it actually is the mind, right? The mind holds on to this. The mind is regretting the past. The mind is anxious about the future. The mind wants to do that. The mind likes this. It doesn't like that, and goes on in circles about, why did this person do this to me? Why did they say that? What did I do to deserve this? Like, am I a bad person? Like just all these stupid questions.
Yeah.
So to find inner peace, to create that inner peace, you need to target the thing that is taking away your inner peace, which is the mind. Okay? And this is what yoga is entirely, right? Yoga is about bringing the mind to stillness and keeping it there. Not just like, you quiet it and it wakes up and it goes crazy again, but bringing it to stillness and keeping it there.
Okay, that's interesting to know. So, how is your experience with clients?
I have had incredible experiences. I've shared a lot actually on my Instagram page. I share a lot of client stories and testimonials. And one of my most recent, I'm actually so proud of him. One of my most recent experiences with my client. So I saw him a couple weeks ago, and we had a session. We practiced, so the way that I coach is very intuitive. It's not just like we're going to do one thing every single time. It's kind of like what this person needs at that time is what they're going to get. And so we were practicing, and at the end, he was kind of lying, just like relaxing and coming out of the session. and he made a funny noise with his mouth, kind of like, and after I didn't say anything. I was like, okay. But afterwards, he told me, he's like, Parm, that was really funny. That noise that I made? He said, I was having a really negative thought pattern in my mind. It was just going in a spiral, a downward spiral. And then he said, when I made that noise, it disappeared. And he
Okay.
didn't even remember what it was about. So this is a literal example of a thought pattern being erased. Like he doesn't remember what it is. I was like, I was so proud of him. And then the next week he went and he did something that he had been avoiding for 2 years. So it works. You see, it works.
That's right. So, any tips for those who overthink? Like, there are lots of people who overthink and negative thoughts hit. So, what would you recommend them to do?
Yeah. So overthinking is kind of like, it's restlessness, right? It's
Yeah.
your mind is restless. So it's kind of going in a loop. Like it's like, oh my God, what if this? What if this? What if this? Oh my God, what about that? What about, you you go on, right? And on and on
Yeah.
and on. And the mind doesn't let you rest. So to get rid of restlessness, like this is what yoga postures are for, yoga asanas, but you can also do like other high intensity activity. Like if you go for a run, you're gonna get rid of that. You're gonna be so tired, but you have to run like until you're tired. And when
Yeah.
you get to that place, then if you do some postures after that, if you do some stretches, you be with the body when you do it, like be with the breath, move the body with the breath. And then you'll find your mind will come to complete and utter stillness. Actually, I have a free 30-minute yoga class on my website for anyone who's interested in that. You can experience this stillness. We start with some breath work, we do some posture practice, and then end in meditation. So I would really, really recommend this for anyone who's struggling with their mind, whether it's restlessness or anxiety or depression or whatever it is. Do your high intensity activity, come back, sit for 30 minutes, do this, and you're going to feel so much better.
Okay. From here, another question arises, as you said, like if anyone wants to practice yoga, they can visit your website and they can join your class for free for 30 minutes. What about YouTubes? There are lots of videos on YouTube's, like, people can avail from that. So, what will be the difference from your classes and from those YouTube classes?
Absolutely. This is an amazing question. I'm so happy that you asked me. So, the difference here with any yoga instructor is that your experience is dependent on the instructor's practice,
Yeah.
right? Let's think about this for a second now. Yoga is not taught, right? It's transmitted. And so you can only give what you have. If I only have 1 cup of water, I can only give away 1 cup of water, right?
That's
It's
right.
the same with yoga. If the instructor's practice is deep, they can give that experience to their students. If it's not, then you're just going to get something that's going to help you stretch, right? And so
Yeah.
this is the experience. I have practiced every single day for the past 3 or 4 years, and I learned from an enlightened master, right? I learned from a living guru. And so the experience that you get is a direct experience from him, right? When I teach, it's not me teaching. Like I'm just the vessel. There's something there teaching through me, and this is what I think is so beautiful, is to be an instrument of
Yeah, I
God.
get it. Okay, so yeah, you're right. There is a difference between those videos which are available anywhere and between the instructor. So now, as we have spoken a lot about yoga, let's move towards some fun questions. Let's imagine and inspire. So, if you win a lottery ticket, Param, for example, infinite amount of money, how will you spend that money?
You know, I would spend that money growing my company because because I want to make a difference. It might seem like a selfish thing, like, oh, I'd spend it on me and my company, but the purpose of my company is to bring light and love to the world, right? It's to reach more people and to change lives. And so I would reinvest that money into my company, reach more people and change more lives.
That's great initiative. All the best for it. So, if you get a chance to live anywhere for one whole year, like for example, one country, so what country will you choose?
This is a really hard question. I have no idea.
And
I
guess
mean,
what's in your mind right now? Like, what's the first country which comes in your mind?
You know what? I would find a tropical island somewhere and I would just stay there and I would like cut off from the world. I would just not even, no laptop, no nothing, just me and just be there, be with nature and go swimming and then find animals and eat fruit and
That's great choice, though. I would like to cut off from the world and just go into the tropical island and just enjoy the peace there, the nature and the animals. It's actually really calming even to watch them.
absolutely, yeah.
So, moving towards next question, if you had a time machine, what would you prefer? Would you like to go in your past or in your future?
Neither. I would like to stay right here.
That's the best choice, though. Okay, so what about inspiration? Does anyone inspire you in life?
Yes, there are a lot of people who inspire me. The first, I would absolutely say my guru inspires me. He inspires me to be a better person and to be more compassionate and caring and loving and patient for sure. That's a big one for me. Um, Other than that, there are so many people, especially in business, who have started with literally nothing but a vision. Like I can name so many people, but they've started with nothing but a vision. And they have grown to be, worldwide sensations. Like these type of people, that determination inspires me, right? Because I mean, like I feel like I have so much support in mission, right? Because I have a guru, but not everyone did. And so I'm just like, wow, you guys are impressive.
Yeah. Basically, in short, everyone or every other person in the world inspires the other person in some way or the other. Okay, so what are you most excited about your work right now?
Right now,
Yeah.
there are a lot of things happening in my company. So I work full time in Parm's Yoga and building my company. And right now, I feel like I'm in a very transitional phase. Like I feel like I'm leveling up. And so there's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of things moving. This is really exciting. It's a little scary. Don't get me wrong. It's like, oh my God, do I want that? But it's so exciting. Like, it's so exciting to finally, to grow and to be out there and to share and to learn as well.
Yeah, that's right. And even to grow your company, like one needs a lot of hard work. Without doing any hard work, nothing can go fluent. Like the hard work can only ripe the fruits. So, what are your future goals? Like apart from your company, like you're growing your company. So, where do you see yourself in next 5 years?
Wow, that's a wow. 5 years.
Yeah.
So in 5 years, so right now I'm living in my parents' house. In 5 years, I will have my own apartment, hopefully on that tropical island. Let's see. And I will have, I'll have all my things. I'll have a great, like a booming company. It's going to be out there. We're going to be changing lives and like maybe not all over the world yet, but we're going to be getting there, growing in Canada, the US, Europe, um, all these countries, that's going to be that. I'm going to have a good, healthy relationship. I don't think I want kids. That's just not really, I don't know. I'm going to look back at this and be like, oh. So at this point, I don't think I want that. But yeah, just like living a life that resonates with me, fulfilled like in all aspects of that, not just, only work or only family or only myself, right? But all things. So I want a life that is rich in all aspects of that life, and I want to be making a difference, and I want to be abundant. I want to have that freedom to do what I want when I want to.
All the best for it. So, what advice would you like to give to the listeners who are listening to you right now?
I would like to say that regardless where you are, you can change your life whenever you want to. You know, you have that freedom, that strength, and all it takes is taking one step every single day. Do one thing. You don't have to change your life overnight. Like it's a process, right?
Yeah.
Like from engineering to yoga, it didn't take me 24 hours. It took me actually like 2 or 3 years, So just keep going. No matter where you are exactly where you're supposed to be. And I promise you that things will work out.
Yeah, that's right. The main thing is you should never give up. You should go on with the flow because there are many people who usually say, like, they give up. So it's much better to never give up, just go with the flow and just keep up doing the hard work. It was great talking with you, Param. I really enjoyed talking with you. Here's a small gesture from me to you.
Oh, thank you. Is that okay?
So, would you like to say something in the end, Param?
Yeah. So, if for anyone who enjoyed the things that we talked about, I would love to hear from you. You can find me at Parms Yoga on Instagram. That's PARMS Yoga on Instagram. That's also my website, so parmsyoga.com. You can find a bunch of free resources. I have a blog. I have so many things to serve you and to inspire you and to help you move forward and create that life that you've always wanted, right? So if you want to reach out to me, Instagram is a place. You can also send me a message on my website.
Okay, thank you. So thank you once again for being part of Inspiration Talks, Palm. And thank you all for watching. See you in another episode. Bye.
Should we just end here?